Hey everyone, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with the latest end times content, make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube right now. The clip you're about to watch is from our weekly Tipping Point show. To get the full show and other end times content from great teachers like Greg Laurie, Dr. Mark Hitchcock, and myself, join us as a member on endtimes.com for $7 a month. Enjoy this clip. This is the United Nations now, just a little. Article here from the United Nations I want to mention before I read these scriptures. Famine knocking at the door of 41 million worldwide. That was last year in 2021. This has grown significantly. Lebanon right now is rationing flour because they get their flour, much of their flour, from the Ukraine. Syria, I just read yesterday that Syria is rationing their food supply there because, again, they get a lot of their food from the Ukraine and Russia and things like that. So this is already affecting nations in the world that are on the verge of famine. But I want to read you a couple of scriptures. This is a scripture that I read you at the beginning of my message. And Jesus said, you'll hear of wars and rumors of wars. Do not be alarmed. This must take place, but the end is not yet. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places, and there will be famines. These are the beginning of birth pangs. Now, famines is a birth pang of the end times. In other words, it's something that as famine gets worse, it's like a woman giving birth to a child. It gets worse and worse and worse. And so we've seen famines around the world for the last 70 or years since Israel became a nation. Now you're seeing the contractions getting closer together and a lot harder, that the world is about to give birth, that Jesus is about to come. Here's Revelation 6. And I want to show. So famine is a birth pang on this side, but famine is a major feature of the tribulation on the other side. In other words, what we're seeing right now is setting up the world for the tribulation. This is Revelation 6. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, come. And I looked, and behold, a black horse, and its rider had a pair of scales in his hands. And I heard what seemed to be a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, a quarter of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. When he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, come. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and its rider was named Death, and Hades followed him. And they were given authority over a fourth of the earth to kill with the sword, with famine, with pestilence, and by wild beasts. So this is the Revelation 6. These are the sealed judgments which begin the tribulation. This is when the tribulation begins. So we have 2 horses here. We have the black horse and we have the pale horse. The black horse is released, and world food supply becomes so severe that it takes a denarius, which is a day's wage. It was what the average worker made in one day. Okay, it took a denarius to buy a quart of wheat or 3 quarts of barley. Now the reason it says that is because barley is not as quality as wheat, and it takes 3 times more barley to make up what 1 part of wheat would do. So a whole day's wage to buy enough food to eat for you and your family if you're an average worker. Okay, that's the black horse, bad news. It says don't harm the oil and the wine. A lot of people have different interpretations of that. My interpretation of that is just simply the luxury items are everywhere. I mean, people have been raptured, people have been dead. If you want oil, this is olive oil, by the way, not petroleum. If you need olive oil or wine, you can have all you want. If you want something to eat, to live on, there's not very much around. That's just my personal interpretation of it. Then the pale horse comes in, and 2 billion people die. There are about 8 billion people in the world right now. 2 billion people die, and many of them die by famine. And so famine is a birth pain, but famine's also a part of the judgment of the tribulation. What I believe we're seeing right now is the world situation exactly paralleling what the scripture said would happen as a birth pain and as a judgment. Imagine when the rapture happens and 1 billion people leave, it even gets worse. Even though there are fewer people to feed, all the judgments begin to happen on the earth. And the food supply, people being killed, war, the rider on the red horse, by the way, peace is taken from the earth. You just think there's wars right now. You wail the tribulation, peace is taken from the earth. So I want to say all of this today to say we're living in very significant times. What does it mean? It means Jesus Christ is coming. Vladimir Putin is not in control. The Iranians are not in control. The United Nations is not in control. The United States is not in control. Jesus Christ is in control. What I've read you today was written 2,600 years ago by the prophet Ezekiel, and it's absolutely exactly what he said would happen in the last days. And so we're looking at a world where the birth pangs are announcing. Jesus said, when you see these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your head. Your redemption draws near. I want to thank you for watching this Tipping Point clip, and I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click subscribe there. And thank you for watching and subscribing. I want you to join our Tipping Point community at endtimes.com. For $7 a month, you can subscribe, and you have a 7-day free trial. So if you just want to check it out for 7 days, go on endtimes.com, check us out for 7 days, but I can promise you, you're going to love the content. You're going to be getting the Tipping Point show, the full show, every single week, as well as articles and video content from great teachers like Greg Laurie and Mark Hitchcock, and of course myself. Be sure to subscribe to be notified when we release more videos like this. God bless you.